Hi, and yes, I have decided to tackle an entire page and build it from scratch with the current free Brizy page builder. This is JP, and welcome to this channel on Learn Brizy Page Builder. The reason why I say in such a dramatic fashion I have decided to do this is because I do not believe Brizy is currently ready to tackle an entire website. There is a lot of workarounds, and you need to have a lot of, interconnection with other elements like your themes, and you have to work on your footers and your headers. And there is still a lot of glitches or functions that should be in the free version if you want to make something free. Otherwise, you should just call it a demo, and then you should give all functionality. We are currently at version 1.0.18. And it's been, I would say, almost 2 weeks since there's been any new features added to Brizy. And we have been just playing around with blocks, and we've been looking at the features. And I have been avoiding the idea of doing a website with it because I want to wait for the Pro. And of course, even with the Pro, I have the feeling that it's going to take us anything from 6 to 12 months to iron out all the wrinkles. And therefore, I am not fully invested in doing this. On the other hand, one of the things that I've also realized in the last few weeks by working with the blocks and looking at the features is that many people are reporting by first glance working with Brizy. Oh, it's great. The workflow is great. Everything is great. And they give it exceptionally high scores. But for me, who has been going deeper in it and the way that I would use it, I cannot agree. I cannot say everything is great. I cannot give it a 9.8 out of 10. These are very unrealistic scores for where Brizy is at this moment. I believe Brizy will get there, but I don't want the hype to overshadow those things that should be fixed. And that is why I have decided I want to tackle an entire one-page website. And I want to see what in this works easily, what frustrates me, and where are there bugs that we can report. And the reason for that is that I believe that if we don't do this as early adopters, we cannot help shape this product. Yes, I've bought Pro, and many others of us have also bought Pro. And it doesn't help you bought Pro and you're just sitting back and you're not testing it, because in the end you're going to say after a year, yeah, it's not what I wanted. I thought, it's going to be excellent. But we are all different users. I mean, I come from a photography, graphic design, and I don't even want to tell you my other background because it's got nothing related to website. But I'm not a coder. I hate shortcodes. I mean, 5 years ago, I had to do an entire website on shortcodes. I'm trying to get away from CSS. I'm trying to get away from shortcodes. I'm looking for this page builder out of the box, drag and drop. And I want to support Brizy because if I support Brizy, it means the competition steps it up. Elementor steps it up. DV steps it up. And many others step it up. And I would like to see that. That is how innovation is driven. But we need to help Brizy at this moment because we all have different workflows. And as you do something, you come to the conclusion like, whoa, wait, this is something I need in my workflow, and it's currently not in Brizy. And this is where we have to start reporting these things vigorously so that we have to make it clear that if these features aren't included, if these bugs aren't fixed, we're going to go away. So that is more or less the reason why I have changed my plan and decided that I will go and do a page even before the Pro Beta is released. I have to say, if you just look quickly at the Pro version that is coming soon, which should be now 2 to 3 months, 2 to 4 months, 1 month is over. Is it now 1 to 3 months or still 2 to 3 months? That's an interesting question to ponder. If you had been following Brizy from the beginning, just 3 weeks ago, people had been asking about white label and multi-site. And at that time, Brizy had reported, well, maybe they can consider that in an agency bundle. But look at it. They've included it in their Pro version. So for the early adopters and the early bird special, which is running now until Pro is released, you have to consider that this is their end goal. It's not going to be included immediately. This is a very niche use. I mean, if you look at the majority of websites out there, they do not use these features. But by investing in Brizy now, they are dangling that carrot in front of us, that these things will come in the future. So what I want to say is that just 3 weeks ago, this was not part of the plan, and now it is. The deal for the lifetime deal has actually gotten better, and I'm not sure if people actually realize that. So if Brizy can step it up and not make the mistakes that Thrive Architect made when they were released, because they lost a lot of support. The release was just horrendous. Things went bad, too many glitches. This is where Brizy has to understand there's a lot of support now, but support means expectations, and with expectations comes disappointment. And that is why at this moment I cannot underscore and stress enough that the free version should be getting more features regularly before the Pro release, as well as the Pro should get a beta out yesterday. Yes, I'm not even saying 2 months in the future, I'm saying yesterday, so that people can start reporting realistic things about what can be expected of the Pro version. This is my opinion at this moment, and that is why I've decided, let me contribute. I've been doing the blocks and I've been looking at the features, but that is nice. That's you look at a car's engine and you say, okay, this is how the engine works, but can the car actually drive? So with this long introduction, this is the purpose of this video, is not really to build a website, but to see, can the car really drive? Can the free Brizy version at this moment drive as good as it should? And when I mean as it should, we always have to compare it to something. And in this case, we are comparing it to the free version of Elementor. And please, I hate that thing like, hey, come on, Elementor has had 2 years, so Brizy, you should give them time to catch up. People in the world, it never works like that. You don't give a newcomer time to catch up. You either sink or swim. And this is where we are now with Brizy. Brizy has to swim. We're all, encouraging them to swim. But for that, I want to end again with what I said earlier. We need to see a few more features in the free version, like next week. And we need to see a beta version also, like next week. And I think people will say, no, that's very unrealistic. This is version 1. This is not a beta or an alpha. They call it version 1. So Brizy guys, this is my call to action. Please give us a few more features. You don't have to give us amazing more features, but just 1 or 2 more features in the free version, so that when you increase the lifetime deal price every 10 days, people can also see the value of the product increasing. The price is increasing, but give us that extra few features so that they can feel the value. But also, I am very concerned about the hype. I've worked a lot where the hype gets completely out of hand. And in the end, the disappointment, even not justified, can ruin a good product. And I don't want to see it in this case, because we're all investing our time and energy and our money in this. Right, so without further ado, let's look at what we're going to do in this, where I'm going to build a one-page website. Right, the first question is, why did I decide on a one-page website and not a website with multiple pages? Actually, many times when I work with customers, I sit down with them and I try to really understand what is it that they want to do with their website. And I find many times, basically, they want the website to be like a substitute for the yellow pages. Websites have become, in a sense, yellow pages on the internet. Many people are focused on things like Facebook or Instagram, but they would like to have that website to give it some kind of authority. When people say, what's your website address? They go check it quickly. It has a certain type of glamour to your product. And that's why many times when I work with people, I will just tell them, okay, I've heard what you said. I'm thinking you should just go for a one-pager. And really, if people don't have news to update, if they don't have anything to sell, if they don't have promotions running, they just want to have a website that is a window to what they do, then a one-pager suffices. Of course, you can have more things like your about pages, etc., etc. I've chosen the one-pager because it's simple, and that would make it easy for me to test the basics of Brizy at this moment, the free version at 1.0.18, to see what it can do. So I've chosen a website that I've done before in Divi for a client, and I'll just give you a quick rundown. It's a very, very, very simplistic website, with all the basic stuff, with a map, and you have some testimonials, and you can have some form there, plus your address, a little bit about the product, which is coffee in this case. And because it's a one-pager, my menu up here is the CSS IDs, right? So when I click on them, nice scrolling. So yes, I did this in Divi, and that is the challenge. I chose this on purpose because I have to compare my workflow and my time and my energy that I invest in web page development to something that I've already done. Because if I'm going to choose a new page builder and it takes me twice as long, then I'm losing out. My client is losing out. We are all losing out. And that is why I want to use this one as a benchmark to see, one, can Brizy do it similarly? Because no two page builders are going to do it exactly the same. Two, can Brizy do it quicker or easier, or at least match it? And those are the two things that I want to determine from recreating this website with Brizy. Right, just a few ideas. I'm not going to do how to install WordPress. I'm not going to do in this video, how to get a host. Those things we can maybe look at in the future for complete newcomers, how to do those things. I'm not going to look at how to install Brizy. The purpose of this video is only to test, can Brizy do what the others can do at this moment, and can it be done easier? I'm going to give Brizy the benefit of the doubt because Divi is a paid version, right? Whereas Brizy is currently free. Then I'm also not going to explain to you all the decisions I made in developing this website, which photos I decided to use, why the color. Well, with the color, I can quickly just show you that if you look at the at the shop, you will see that this is their color scheme, this bright yellow. So in the end, I had drafted my own little set with all my codes and my fonts and my text, these things, so that I can have an idea of how I was going to develop this website. And that is the background behind the website that we are going to be building now, going to see if we can match this one and can we do it even quicker. Before we start building the blocks, I would like to look at the styling that comes with Brizy Page Builder. And it is a decision that you will have to be very much aware of what you do towards the styling. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you quickly here on the left. If you look at this paintbrush, it says styling. And if you click on it, you're going to see the color palette up here. And then you're going to see these predetermined fonts for the different headings. And you can also add your own by clicking here on Add New. The reason why you have to be very much aware of this is that whatever you do here will affect your elements. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to open a new block, and in this block I'm going to drag in a text element. And then I'm going to give this text element also a heading. Let's call it heading 1. Let's give it a heading 2 just for example, and then heading 3 so you can have a good idea of what's happening here. Click anywhere in heading 1, go to typography and select heading 1. Click anywhere in heading 2, go to typography, heading 2, and we do the same for heading 3. And this would be by default your paragraph. You will notice that all of these headings, all the text in the text element, they have the same color. And how is this font color assigned? It's very easy to check. You can click on any of these and then you go up here to colors, and you will notice that for heading 1, it is the font color second from the right. Heading 2, second from the right. Heading 3, same. And for paragraph, second from the right. What does this mean? This means that your heading element's text color is determined by the second from the right color swatch. This one over here. And I can prove that to you. If I click on it and I change it, let's make it something more visible. You can see by changing this swatch, the heading color changes. You need to know this. This is very important. So if I change the color here, and in the future, I drag in a new text element, the default text is going to display second from the right. Why is this important? Because if you go and you do your styling and you assign random colors to these color palettes, like we will often do in other page builders, you may come into the case where you assign this one a color like white. And now you open a new block, you drag in a new text element, and you cannot see anything there. And now every time you have to go and change the text color. This is going to lead to a few extra steps, and you have to be aware of that. Let's then look how it applies to a website. This means that if your website, the background is going to be white, you should make sure that your text color, the second swatch from the right, is a dark color. Let's do that. This is our background, and we drag in a text element. Then you have to ensure that this little button or this little square, which is the swatch, should be a dark color. It can be anything around this area. It will display OK. On the other hand, if you are going to have a dark background and you drag in your text element, you need to ensure that you have light color for it, anywhere around this area. And if you are going to be using both dark and light, like in this case you have a dark one and light interchangeably, then your best bet is to go for a color in the middle on the left. Not so much on the right. You see it becomes more brighter red, but it gets lost in the background. It's better to go on this side where there's more gray. And then you can go and you can see where it balances out. And in fact, that is exactly where the Brizy swatch for text is. If I copy the original hex code and I paste it back on this one, you will see it gives us around this area. And it doesn't matter how you change here on the use slider, it will still display well in both a light background and on the darker background. Now this is for text. The next one you have to take into consideration is a button. And we can call these accent colors, buttons and icons. And the moment I load them and you see they load with this light blue, you can find it third from the left, which means that if you just go arbitrarily and you change this to a very light color like this, and you have a light background, every time you load that button, or even something like, I remember the counter, it's going to give you the third from the left. So your third from the left is going to be those icons and accent colors that you are going to be using, and you need to think very carefully about this before you start changing your palette just randomly or assigning colors arbitrarily. So in my case, I am going to just do a mock-up of how a typical block would look with the colors that I want to use. And I'm going to just drag it in here so you can have an idea. Let's put this on. Now I have duplicate. Okay, so I can do this, and let's grab it over here. So I want to use this one, as you can see, as my background. And for that, I'm going to put it on the first swatch. I'm going to say this will be my darker color. And then I'm going to make, where is my block icon? Ah, there it is. I'm going to, seems it doesn't want to do that, right? I'm going to put it there. Now from here, I'm going to set up my styling. I'm going to drag in a text, and I'm going to give it a heading. And I'm going to give it a heading like, welcome to our store, not too short. And I'm going to give this a heading 1. And now I am going to, based on this, change the second, this one. What is the color that I want to have here that will stand out against my background? And in the website I'm designing, all of my text will be against this background color. I want this to be white. So even though I've got 2 whites here, this one is going to be applied every time you drag in a text element. And I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to drag in a button. And I'm going to ask myself also, let's drag in an icon. What would be the default color that I want for these? And I'm going to also choose white. All right. And the only thing you have to understand now is that because your text is set to white, your button is set to white, that you're not going to see the text here for button. That is the trade-off that you have to make. The last thing that I want to do is I want to bring in the other colors that I use. I would recommend the second swatch, this one, that you leave that for also a very dark color like a title color. And then the others are available to your pleasure. So the yellow I'm going to copy, and I'm going to put the yellow over here. The mid brown, I just give them these easy names. They are not technically correct, but it helps me to remember them easier. And then I'm going to choose the charcoal. And I have to sacrifice one color. Why? Because I've assigned white twice. I've assigned this white here for the buttons and the icons. And I've assigned this white here for my text. And if you want to work on the styling mechanism and follow the style workflow, you will have to make these decisions. Otherwise, when you start doing it later, you will find out it doesn't work as smoothly as you thought it would. Next thing is for my heading 1. I want to use a style or a font called Dancing Script. And you find that going here to add new Google font, going to type in Dancing Script. And the reason it's not showing is because I have already loaded it. After you have typed it in, you found it, you just click on the Add New option. Then I'm going to go to heading 1, and I'm going to click here on Dancing Script. I want to check the following. I want to check the line spacing. So when I do this, let me go back to my styling for heading 1, and the line height, I want to reduce it a little bit for my heading 1. For heading 2, I also want to use Dancing Script. So let's just add an example so you can work with it. Heading 2. Right. And for heading 2, go to styling. Heading 2, I'm going to decrease the size and just, I don't have the line height, but I'm going to guess. And that is how I'm going to determine how to do this with my headings. This one is paragraph. So I'm going to go to my styling for paragraph. I have already set it to Lato, and that's where I want it to be. Now I have set up my palette up here, and I've also set up the three things that I'm going to be using in this page, and that is a heading 1, a heading 2, and a paragraph. And now I'm more or less ready to start with the page. I may have to tweak these settings later on as I work, but at least I've set up a consistent framework in which I can work. Let's delete this, and then let's start with our first block. I have various sections on this page, and the first section is like a header hero image with the logo that I want to create. So I'm going to bring in add a blank block, and I'm going to delete the default that they give me. Set my background image, go to background image, and then I choose these coffee beans over here. Then from here I want to add a logo that's going to be on the right side, and I grab columns and I'm going to drag. Well, let's first bring in the image, and I'll show you later why. Now, before I place anything, I'm going to try and determine where I want this image to be. Around here, this size of the logo. Click on it, and then I grab my logo and I bring it in. And Brizy will, ta-da, display my picture for me. Of course, you can see that the logo is cut off at the bottom and at the top. And the way to fix that, go to the cog here on settings, you go to height, and you type in 100%. And it will stretch it, and now it will fit in 100%. After you have done that, now again, you will go and you will decrease it like this to the size that you wanted it. The problem is if you do it this way, and now you try to decrease it, it will make it smaller again. So let's take it back to 70-30, and let me just get that more or less right at 70-30, and we do it like that. And shall we say we want to space it to the right? Good. And that's it. That is my first section. I can of course go and I can extend it here with the padding that you have at both at the top at the bottom, but I'm going to leave that for the end when I have my whole website finished. Then I can have a better idea of how much of this hero image I want to have. I'm also going to add a few other things at the end, but let's wait and see what that is when we get to the end. For me, any website, the purpose is that when somebody opens it, they must immediately have an idea of what this website is about, what the product, the company, the organization, what they are about, if they are selling something, if it's a product, if it's a service, whatever. And that's why for me, the beans as a picture is very important. But the second section, or the second block I'm going to add, is going to be a general idea as well, to just create an idea, give a feeling of what people can expect more. And I'm first going to change the background color to the one that I had chosen, and then I'm going to remove the default, and I'm going to bring in a text element, and this is going to give us the name Coffee par excellence. And the idea is with this title is to make people understand this is coffee and it's quality coffee. And under it I'm going to have a subtitle, something like the true aroma of Panama. This is where the coffee is from. I'm going to center align it, center align both, and I'm going to give this one my heading 1, which is pretty nice, and this one I'm going to leave there as it is. I like it just the way it is. Then what we can do next is I'm going to bring in 3 images. The purpose for me to bring in the 3 images is that I want to show a little bit more about this coffee. But I have found a small little problem in it, that when I bring in the 3 images, it is difficult for me to drag something under it. So I'm going to drag in a spacer here just to keep that space. And then I'm going to drag in the columns over here. And then I'm going to duplicate that. So I have 3. Now I want these images to have no space, no borders between them. I want them to align and be adjacent. And because Brizy applies default padding and margins, you have to go and you have to adjust that. So click here on the first one, which we're going to be working with, more settings, and I'm going to click on the padding, link them, drag it down to 0. Next, I'm dragging in my image over here, and then I'm going to load the image so I can already see how it looks. Right, so these coffee beds of coffee beans, and then you see there's a little bit of space here at the top and the bottom. Let's click on the image and the image settings, more settings, and there you see the margins. There's 10 and 10 at the top and bottom. Again, I'm going to link them so we can remove them. Then I want to decrease the height for this because I don't want it to be this high. This is actually, let me type in 100% because I remember I had sized them accordingly to what I had wanted them from the very beginning. And that's it. The choice that I had done earlier is to make this block a full width, and it would look like this. But I thought for this one, I'm going to keep it at boxed. Then let's duplicate and remove these two. Delete. Go away. And now I'm going to change these images. Coffee plantation. And for this one, I'm going to add the warehouse. And very, very difficult to see, but if you scroll down here to the bottom, you will see that there is a very slight misalignment there. But now that I've zoomed in, I don't see it. So I want to go preview it to see how it will look, because sometimes what you see in the Brizy Page Builder, and when you go to the preview mode, it will display a little bit differently, and you may think something is wrong, but actually in the display it looks fine. Yes, it looks fine to me. Maybe it's just the shadow over here that makes me think that this one is a little bit taller than the other one. I don't like the fact that my heading is so close to these images, so I'm going to drop in a spacer, and that already is good enough. Under this, I want to put in section links to the different sections that will be on this one page website, and again I want to add 3 blocks, 3 columns, because I want to have one to the product, I want to have one to the store, and I want to have one to contact us. Now, normally you would drag in the columns and then you would duplicate them, and you will do that. But I am not going to do that because I will show you why I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to delete these guys. Adios. And I'm going to drag in a row. It will become clear to you soon why I'm dragging in a row. And again, I'm going to duplicate this. The reason I chose a row is because I don't want these 3 columns to be spaced as far away as the 3 images. I want them to be squashed a little bit to the center. And I do that by going to the row, click on settings, and play around with the width. About there. Aha, you get the idea. This is what I was up to. Now you can load an icon. That's what happens when I speak too fast. But because I'm working with coffee beans, I didn't find icons. Actually, I don't like use font icons. I like to use SVG or PNG images because I like even my icons to be special, not just use the basic icon that everyone is using. So I have gone and I've made my icons in images, and I'm going to click on this one and drag in the beans. Welcome to the beans. And again, that little trick I gave you, make sure you put it on 100%. That will give you the scaling of the image. And then from here, you can reduce the size. And I'm going to reduce it about to this level. Now, this is going to be about the product. So I want to create a link under it that when I click on it, it will take me to that section. I'm going to use a button for that. And I'm dragging in the button over here. And remember, we had done this styling at the beginning, so that's why my button is coming in at white, but my text is not clear. We're going to style this. Let's go here, and we're going to make it a small button. We're going to make the fill no fill, and the corners are good, and I'm going to remove the icon. And then, actually, that color there is pretty nice. But let's work on the hover effect. So we go to the color. We click here on hover. So what do we want to happen? What do we want to happen, or what would we like to happen if we hover over it? Let's make this more opaque, and we do it over here, decrease the opacity. Yes, good, that's enough for me. So this is what I want. I want these beans here that will be my product. When I click on this, it will take me to a section that we will add later. And then I want to have two more here, one for the store and one to contact us. And these will just be links to guide you through this one-page website. Let's duplicate twice and then delete. Delete. And then for here, let's bring in those other icons / images. And let's also change the text. This one is our beans. You can say our coffee. This one is the store. And this one will be the obligatory contact us. Right. Click on this one just to make sure it's not at 100%. But at this moment, here is the problem. If you start messing around now, you're going to notice already that we have a little bit misalignment. This button here is slightly lower than this button. And these are elements that I hope that Brizy can add for us in the future, like a blurb element or a better icon image element, info element, Thrive Architect, and there's an add-on for Elementor. Awesome stuff. I like that. The ultimate add-on for Elementor. Those guys know how to do this very, very well. So I hope that is something that we can also get in Pro version, because now I have to manually gauge these things. And that, of course, everybody, drives us crazy. Let me also put that at 100% just to see. Okay, good. Let's just do this. I just don't feel it's aligned. But often what I see and what is reality is so far removed from each other. So this is I would say, the only part in the making of the website where I feel a lot of work is needed. We will need some kind of element, or we will need better image control on this, because I cannot set absolute values for my images at this point. One more thing I want to do here is I'm going to add a divider. In this case, it's called the line. And I'm dragging the line in here. I'm going to change the color of the line. And I'm going to change the style. And then I'm going to, the alignment stays in the middle. I'm going to reduce the width. And because I don't want it that close, I'm dragging in another spacer over there. So let's have a look at that. Not bad, Nigel. Let's make it a little bit bigger over here. So you see, what is my purpose so far is I want people to come across the website and like, okay, coffee, and then, see this farm, which gives you the idea, this is special coffee, right? This is not your normal instant freeze-dried can thing you can get in the store. This is special stuff. And then from here, I want people to understand. We're going to talk about the beans, about the store, and if they want to contact us, they can do so. This is my, you can call it introductory section of my website. And after this, I will be developing and bringing out the beans in the store and contact us. Now that we have finished that introduction part, let's move on and focus on the product, which in this case is the beans, also actually coffee as well. I'm going to add a block, which will be my section. I'm going to delete the default, and I'm going to make the background the same color as the top one. And now you will understand why I had used this divider. Otherwise, it would just flow too easily. I'm going to decrease the padding a little bit so it's not that far removed. From here, I want to bring in 3 columns. And I'm going to duplicate that. I want this column at around, let's say 30. So this is at 30. This is more or less. We can see later what I want. Now let's make that one also 30. So 30 on the sides. I wish I could just type it in. Okay, let's get this one perfect as well. Oh, it is perfect. Perfecto. And then I'm going to drag in. How shall we do this? I want to actually bring in another column. Okay, I'm going to bring in for the title another column. And you know what? I'm going to make this one, and you'll understand soon. Right. I'm going to bring in the heading, which is in this case, Heart of the Geisha. Now the geisha is the name of the coffee bean. And this is our product. So this will be my title 1. Heading 1. And I'm going to put it here on H1 so it can be found. And that's it. That is why I had put it there. I want it to be aligned to the left. I'm going to put text under here. Let's bring our text element in. And then I'm going to copy from Word. And unfortunately, it doesn't copy very well. You will need to go in there and you will have to make those adjustments. Make sure that your paragraphs are properly cut and entered at the right places. For example, I know that this bottom one starts with now. And then from here. Okay. And then I'm going to highlight them all and apply paragraph. Good. And this is exactly how I want this part to look. So in this area here, I want to include 2 images. So I'm going to do that by adding 1 image element. Click on it and find my image, which is a lady holding some coffee beans showing us the geisha. Oh. Now, because I want to have 2, I need to get this about half the size of the text here. So I have to get around here. I'm just going to duplicate it to see. No, let's decrease it a little more over here. Duplicate it. Yeah, I think that's good enough. And I'm going to delete it again. I'll show you why. I am going up here to corners. Slightly bring it to about 5 pixels. And I also just want to make sure that the focal point, there we go. Now I'm going to duplicate it. Then from here, click on the image, delete and replace with the next image. Give us an idea, country of origin, Café de Panama. Good. This looks nice, Peter. Nigel. Now Peter. And finally, I want to add a call to action over here. Again, it's going to more or less link to contact us, but I want people to understand that, hey, if you want to know more about the geisha, click here. And I'm going to create my own call to action because currently in Brizy there is no such an element, which also will be nice. I'm going to drag in a text element over here. I'm going to drag a second one. And I'm going to drag in a button. And this one up here is going to be get geisha and other great beans. And then for this one, I'm going to apply that heading 2. And I'm going to center align it. This one is already correct. Let me just copy the text that I want to put in there. And again, you have to make sure that your breakpoints are correct. Good measure. Just check that they are all on paragraph. And I'm also going to center align that. And then find out more. But why should I restyle this if I can just use this button up here? So let's click on this button, duplicate it, click on the button and drag and drop it. Let's delete this one. Find out more. Next, I want all of this to hang here in the middle. And you do that by going to the column, settings, and there you go. And I want to have a little bit more space on the left and the right, and that again will be our padding. Go to more settings, go to padding, and let's type in 20. Wait, where am I? 25. And then on the left, I'm going to also type in 25. Good. Good enough. And I want maybe the button to be a little bit lower. I'm going to click on the text here on settings, and I'm going to say gap below. And very well done. Now we have introduced our product very, very briefly. It's good enough, nothing more, and we have finished this section. The next section we are going to look at our store. For the store section, I want to focus on images. I want people to understand how the store looks. I'm going to add a blank block, and I'm going to delete again. Bring in column and duplicate it twice. The next thing I'm going to do is my block, I'm going to stretch it, make it full width. Then, because I don't want any space and margins or whatnot between these different columns, I'm going to change this column and make sure that my padding again is set to 0. I'm going to bring in my first image. Let's grab this one. And let's see current settings. This is too big for me, I think, so I'm going to definitely reduce the height. Yeah, to about here. Or should I keep it 100%? 84? No, I think. Let's go with 100%. We can change it later again. Let's make it spectacular, Jimmy. Nigel, Peter, Jimmy. And then, of course, we need to remove those margins at the top. Now we are going to duplicate that. But before we do that, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. I'm going to duplicate the image. And then I'm going to change the image over here. Choose another image. And then I will begin duplicating this column. Again, before I do that, please note, for those of you that do care about things like this, there is a faint white line. I guess it's about 1 pixel in there. And I checked it on preview. It is there. There is no margin or padding settings. I have checked everything. So there is no way with the normal workaround that you are going to get rid of that white line. So we have to go into negative space. And by negative space, we are talking about margins. So I've clicked on this picture, clicked on the settings, clicked on more settings, and then on margin, I'm going to disconnect them, delink them, make them 0 again. And then for the top margin, I'm going to go down -1. And I'm just going to use the down arrow key on my keyboard. And that -1 pixel will remove that white space. Next thing, we are going to duplicate 4 times. Oh, it cannot do 4 because Brizy only allows you 6 columns. So before I can bring in the extra column, I have to get rid of these guys. Right, so let's change the photos for the rest. We can get that out of the way. You see, the whole idea behind these photos is purely to create visual stimuli for people who want to go to the shop. They should get the feeling of the shop. And you don't need to tell people in words what a coffee shop is like. People want to see the atmosphere, the ambiance. They want to know how it feels. And photos, my friend, is the best way to show people how a shop feels. And you should include people, definitely, because once you see people in photos, you associate with it. And this is also an example of where I've told you that be careful of using stock photos to represent your shop. These photos may not be the best of the best, but people can immediately sense the feeling and the environment that the shop has. Now I'm going to go to the third column and I'm going to delete these images. Why did I do that? I want to put text here. I want to say, and I want to explain a little bit about the store. Very little. The only thing I want to say here about the store is the address. So I'll bring in, we have our one column. Remember, it's one column, and it's very important that you understand it's one column. You'll understand soon. I'm going to bring in two text elements. And now you understand it is white on white because we had set that in the styling earlier. So don't be alarmed if you don't see anything. All you need to do is go up here and change it. I'm going to use the one second from the left. And Nativo, Shift Enter, coffee shop. And then I'm going to center align them because it thought it's a Shift Enter, doesn't matter. Seems it doesn't matter. And I'm going to make this heading 1. And good enough. Then I'm going to bring in my next text element, drop it there. I'm going to grab the address over here. Let me change the color first, otherwise I'm working in the dark. And I want to have that Taipei Taiwan separate. And I'm going to make this a heading 2. And then these guys, all put them in the center. I want to have some spacing between that. I can bring in the spacer, or I can go and say gap above. I'm just going to bring in the spacer, and all looks fine. Next thing, what I want to do, and that's why we are using one column, is I'm going to bring them all to the middle over here. And that is the reason why we're putting it in one column. For the background, I am choosing that shocking yellow. And of course, this looks okay. You can leave it like that, but I'm going to remove the padding at the top and the bottom. Now you can drag the padding like this, but it's only going to go the last 15 pixels. You can do nothing with it. So if you want to have 0 padding at the top and the bottom, you go up here to your slider, go to settings, more settings, and you do it over here, drag it down. Beautiful, right? And that's all I want people to know about the shop. I want them to have a feeling of the shop. I want them to know the name of the shop, where is the shop, and please, hey, come to our shop. This is then our second section. And that will bring us now to the third section, which will be Contact Us. But before that, shouldn't we have maybe testimonials? You know, people come to our store and they like our coffee. Let's put some people in there, some guests, and let's use testimonials for them. Personally, I'm not a big fan of testimonials. I feel they are most of the time fake and forced, and I don't really know if people actually spend time on reading testimonials. But it's a trend, and it does lend some design splendor to your website. And we are going to add that just to show our visitors that other people who come to our shop, they want to say something good about our shop. Let's add the next part, which is a block. Going to delete all of this again. And from here, I'm going to keep a white background. So be aware that any text block you drag in, you're not going to see because we've changed the swatch color for text blocks to white. I'm going to drag in an image. And because it's going to be on a single line or a single row, I can just drag it in like this. Then I'm going to find an image of one of our happy customers. And the reason why we include a dog is because many people nowadays with their pets want to go to coffee shops. Then I am going to greatly reduce this to about this size. Once I get to this level, click on it, go to the ear, and choose my height at 100%. And then I will get my full image. And there is my image already. Next thing, I want to add the quote. So I grab the text, and I will type in here some random text, change the color to second swatch, put it in the middle and say, the best experience ever. I'm going to keep it short. And below that, I'm going to put their names. And this is, let me just check, give them at least their real names, not just characters in a movie. Where's my testimonials? Seems like I have deleted them. Yeah, seems I have deleted all the testimonials. So for now, you're just going to get, I remember it was Carol and Norito, something like that. Carol and Norito. Give him a Japanese name. And is that good enough? Can we see it? Let's make this a little bit darker. I'm going to highlight this entire part, bold and italic. And that's good. So now I want to have it move like a slider, and I want to add 2 more people in there. Before I do that, because this text may become very long and I don't want it to be spread out over the whole screen, I'm going to adjust the block width. And with that, the image changes, which I don't like, so it means we have to go back to that. Good. Let's go back to our image. Let's increase it again now this way. And there we go. Next, we have to make this a slider. Click on the block, go here to block, make it a slider. And from here, seems they have fixed this part of the glitch. I now have 2 slides. They've duplicated this. You see here at the bottom, this is the first slide, and this is the second slide. So let's go and change the picture to our next guest. And let's just add some more text because he likes to talk a lot. I always come here after a long day to relax and read my newspaper. And his name is Samuel. Good. And then we want to add a third one. Go up here, duplicate, and go to the third one. Image, change. Let's change what they will say. For us, Nativo is like family. The people treat us well, and the coffee is out of this world. And this is Yaling and Maruhachi. I'm not sure if those names exist. Okay, I lost the names. Apologies. We want to turn this into a slider that automatically moves, and you do that by going up here again to this icon. You go again to block, and then you will see the slider settings here, and we put it on autoplay every 3 seconds. And for the dots, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to say none. I don't want to see those dots. This is good enough. Now we have our coffee shop section. We've added some testimonials. So finally, for those people who want to contact and find out more, let's add something for people to contact us. Actually, I have to make a decision here. Do I want to add the contact us form now, or should I add a map? Because our coffee shop and map is closely linked. But I have decided I want to add the form first and then bring in the map after that. Let's go to add a new block. Blank block. And I'm going to delete it and change the background color to our set color. And then all over here, bring in the form over here. And then, of course, I want to make this much smaller, so I'm going to reduce the width of the block. I should also bring in a title. Let's put it on 50%, then we work with good values. Text over here. Contact us. And change it to a heading 1. Nice. Now, how does this form work? You see here input, select, and paragraph. The best way to understand it is that the word you see here actually means nothing. This is where you are going to write what that space means. But what is the value of this first space? To find out, you click on this field here, and you have to choose what kind of field is this. Is this a text field, or do you want an email or a number, or maybe a paragraph, or some options that people can choose? And we are going to make this an email field. This is the first thing I want here, is I want people to type their email. So you have to now change input, and you just click on it and type email. Then over this one, it's currently a select field, but I want this to be a text version because I want people to give them their name, give me their names. And then this part is correct. It's a paragraph. I want people here to type their message. And then for the button, I'm going to change the text here to send. And for the color of the text, where's the color? We're going to make this. Ah, that's pretty nice. I changed the background. In the end, I like it better. Not bad. But you're not done. You need to set it up a little bit so that actually this form can send. And you do that by clicking on this one here. No, wait a minute. Now I have to think carefully. Where did I see it? This is where things become. Oh, yes, you have to go to the button. And then you will see this little plugin here, which is your WordPress plugin. And then you have to click on the WordPress. And from here, you have to type in the email that you want people to send it to. So info@nativo-cafe.com. Interest, something like that. And then click on continue. And now you are done. Now your form is set up. It's very basic, and we are just working with the Brizy stuff here. So we're not working with form with all those other builders and forms that you can get at this moment. This is very basic stuff. It's going to send you a message from the people, and then you can reply to them from your email address. And that is how you're going to do that form. This is as easy as it gets. For the contact form, no bells and whistles, but good enough for basic stuff. The next part is the map that I've mentioned. And like I said, actually, maybe the map should go with the store, but I've decided to put it under the Contact Us form. I'm going to delete again everything here because I want the map to be stretched out over the whole page. Go to my elements and grab the map. And the map is actually as easy as pie as well. First, I want to make sure that this is fully stretched. Full, and then I want to reduce both the top and the bottom padding, and you know that if you do it manually, it's going to stop at 15 pixels. It's not going to give you 0. So you have to go into the block settings, more settings, click on the padding, make it 0. There's still a little bit of space, and that will be our element. Go to more settings, and that's over here at the margin. That's exactly where I want it to be. Now you click on your map and you will see this toolbar at the top. Click on map, and from here you just type in Nativo Coffee Taiwan, and hopefully it will find it in record time. It did, and that's it. You can do with this map a lot of other things, like you can put it in columns, you can maybe put some very simple styling onto it by using the rows or the columns. But at this moment, this is as easy as it gets. And it's really intuitive. It's very quick. I was very impressed by how quickly it found things in this map. And I actually think not a bad map at all. And finally, let's add a footer, and we're going to add our own footer because we are not going to be working with a theme here and we don't have multiple pages, but we just want something at the bottom to round off this one-page website of ours. Let's make it complete then with a footer, and I'm going to drag in a block, again delete everything, and for this I'm going to use a different background. Shall I go for this one? Something just different. And I'm going to add my blocks, columns, and I'm going to make them 4. There's a reason. Everything has a reason, right? In the first one, I want to add, again, the logo. For good measure, rounding off my website. When people get to the bottom, they know, ta-da, it's over, man. Let it go. Again, make it 100%. And is this big? Yes, this is too big. I want to make it smaller. So I'm going to drag it to that level there. And then I'm going to align it to the right. Over here, I want to add the address again. So bring in that. Copy the address from here. And we're going to say Taipei, Taiwan. I also want to add the Facebook page, and I'm going to do that by bringing in an icon. Drag it here. Going to align it to the left, change the color to match this one, but just be aware that the hover color changes, but I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to click on the icon. And over here, I'm going to search for Facebook and choose this one. Right, I would like it to be a little bit more aligned, so I'm just going to increase the size of the image. Good. And then finally, I'm going to add 3 links over here. I'll show you which links I am talking about. It's the same ones we said at the top. Our beans, the store, contact us. So I'm trying to make it look like a very typical footer that you can get. And that's it. The reason I added those columns is so that I can have some open space here. Maybe later I want to add something to that. And to me, okay, let's decrease the padding here because a footer usually does not have that. Yes, good. And to me, this is the meat of this entire website. Of course, if you're going to work with a theme or you have posts, you will have to do more to get those things working. And the purpose then of this is just to show how I'm going to build this website and design it with the current tools that we have in the free version of Brizy at this very moment with version 1.0.18. And now I want to go ahead and link these buttons that we have here to the different sections so that you can see how they work. Seems that the preview is loading forever, so we can have a look at that later. Setting links for sections or blocks is usually done with CSS ID, but in Brizy's case, it's a little bit complicated, and on the other hand, super convenient. And we'll look at the super convenient at this moment. If I want to link this button here to this section, because this button here links to this one. So when people are here and they click on it, I want the page to scroll up. How do I do that? You click on the button and over here you will see link. And under link, there are 2 options. There's your URL and the anchor. And we are going to choose anchor. And when you click on anchor, it's going to display all the sections that you have on your page. But you do notice, right? All these sections look exactly the same. It's something that hopefully very soon can be updated so that at least we can maybe have a name here or some rendered image so we have an idea of which section we want to link it to. So I need to go and count. This is block number what? I had 1 block up here, 2nd block here, and this is block number 3. So I click again here, go to link, go to anchor, and 1, 2, 3. Now I have linked this button to the third section. Now this button, I want to link to section number 4. The store, link, anchor, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to click on 3 so I can still see that blue frame. So when I scroll down, I know 4 is after that. Good. And then 4, 5, and then contact us is section number 6, block number 6. So contact us over here, link, anchor, 1, 2, 3, click on it, 5, and then 6. And I also want to link this one to contact us, link, anchor, 1, 2, 3, where is it, 1, 2, 5, go down, and 6. Yes, it's really bad on my eyes. I can barely see what I'm doing. And then you are going to be doing the same at the bottom. I'm going to highlight these guys just to make sure. Link them, 1, 2, 3. The store. I'm going to link, store I'm going to link to 1, 2, 3, 4. And contact us, I'm going to link to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, there should be a better way in the future. This is a glitch at the moment. Every time you take text and you link it, it gives you the blue color. I'm thinking it is connected to the theme. I'm using Astra. So you have to select them all, but you will find if you choose any other, it will not change the color. The only way you can do this is you have to go individual line, drag it up there. And that is the only way I have found it to work. Okay, and drag it up. Very nice. And now we have linked all of them. Question is, do they work? So let's do that. Let's click here on the preview. And we're in preview. Click on our beans. Ah, beautiful. Click on the store. Amazing. And click on contact us. I'm so satisfied. Let's check the bottom as well, our beans. Yep, not smooth scrolling from the bottom. It's a sharp jump. And contact us. Let's put some animation in here while we are busy with this. Let's have some of these images fade in. And can Brizy do animation? Yes, Brizy can do some animation. So let's go here. We click on this image, go to settings, more settings, and then advanced, go to animation, and we're going to click on here. You scroll down for the other options, fade in. And let's choose another one here. I'm just going to do a few random ones so you can see not all of them. Let's scroll down again. Let's do a fade in down. How does that look? No, that's fading down long, fading down. So let's do a fade up. Where's fade up? And I don't want such a long delay. I'm going to bring it down. And then from here, we can use this one. More settings, advanced, animation. What is pulse? Pulse is just, not bad. But I'm going to also do fade so it can be consistent with the other guys. And I'm going to delay it a little bit more. Let's go preview that. I scroll down, and there comes my animation. Not the best animation in the world. I'll have to go tweak it, but yes, Brizy can do some nice animation. Also notice my slider, right? There we have the slider. Very nice. Good. So we've done our page. Of course, there's one thing missing. Do we want to have any menu bar at the top? Let's think about that. Once the Pro version is released, we're going to get header and footer elements that will be very interesting. Of course, you can use your theme. At this moment, I'm going to do neither of that. One, I don't have Pro, and two, I don't want to use the theme. I just want to play around a little bit and show you what we can do. And I'm going to drag in here a button element. Drag in my button. And then in the button, I'm going to type those three things that we've been working on. First one was our, and I cannot see anything, our beans. And I'm going to style this very differently than everything else. I'm going to make it large. Let's keep it medium. I'm going to remove the icon. And then let's go to the text. And I'm going to increase the size significantly. I cannot see the text because let's remove it a little bit to the bottom. Line height I'm going to reduce to about there. And then let me see. This is nice. Right. So if I hover over it, let's change this to the background. Is that white? I'm going to decrease it, and the text, and I've got a cat here bumping against the microphone. Text for this one. And then Spy, sit down. Okay. And then I am going to put a link in here. Go up here. Oops, to link. And I'm going to anchor it again to the third one. And from here, I'm going to duplicate it. But it's going to put it next to it. So you have to click on it and drag it under it. Like that. And now it's increasing it, but that's fine. And this one we are going to call the store. And I have to link that to, this is 3. Where is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from this one, I am going to duplicate. Actually, I want to remove the background completely. Let's make the background 0. Let's make the text white. I like that better. Let's do the same for this one. Background 0. Text white. Then when people hover over it, click off it. Yes. But when they hover over it, I want to have a background. I'm going to increase it a little bit. Nice. I like that. Okay. Okay, what is this? This is 39%, so 40% is fine. Click on the hover, go background. Let's see again. Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see if we make the text even bigger to 40. Let's change even the font of the text to Playfair Display. Oh, I like that. Then we can make it even bigger to 50. And when we hover over it, let's make the text the dark color. Right. More or less. I'm going to delete this one because I've made too many changes. Duplicate. Click on it. Drag it under. Let's change it again to the store. And now you have to, let me just check corner. I remember border. Yes, border 0. Is it still the same? And we're going to duplicate this one. Grab it. Click on it. Click and drag. Click and drag. There we go. And this one we will call naturally contact us. But I'm going to change the contact us. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Text. Because this one is not that important to me. And what did I do here again? I changed the foreground. Okay. You love it and you hate it. Every builder does that to us. So let's decrease. If we change it a little bit like this, let's then bounce this. And I think this is fine. Okay, this is not perfect, but I just want to show you more or less an idea of what you can do with the top. If you're not interested now in using your theme or waiting for the pro version, it's just something very interesting that you can do. There's our beans. Go to our beans. The store, I think it will also take our beans. Remember to change those anchor settings. It may seem like we are done, but there is one very crucial element or phase or step that we must do next. and that is responsiveness for those cell phones and tablets. And this is why at this moment, as a free version, there are shortcomings. Closing these previews, let me show you. I'm going to quickly drag this out. You will notice, especially if I go to this section here. Currently, I have reduced the size of my screen. If I make it bigger, there's no change. This is your desktop view. If I drag it quickly to the left, it will give us our cell phone view. You will see they're all more or less the same. They look good, nothing wrong with it. So the difference that you will experience when you're making a website at this moment is definitely the so-called tablet view. And it's pretty important. Many people use iPads or Samsung Android tablets. If you use a Surface tablet, it's going to give you a desktop view. It's not going to give you the tablet view unless you turn it vertically. So to understand that mobile or tablet responsiveness, you will immediately see when I reach a breakpoint around here, there. Now things begin to look a little bit different. They don't line up so well. And then you see there, this is the moment you reach, it's not aligned. This is where your tablet view comes in, and there it jumps. Now immediately we go into cell phone view again, and things look better. So understanding how different these views are, you need to go and check for it. And at this moment, we can only go between desktop and mobile. And it is something that you need to do. It's a step that I love to neglect, but it is something that you just have to go and do. So what you have to remember is that any image that overlaps here, do not be concerned by it. It displays correctly. It's just here in the builder that it looks like it's out of the column, but it is fine. What I truly love about Brizy's mobile view is it only gives you those things that you can change that are related to the mobile display. It will not give you other things to change. So you can, in this mobile view, change to your heart's delight the things that can be changed, and it will not affect your desktop view. So for example, here we have the spacer. I don't want to see the spacer, or I want to reduce it. The fact that I can reduce it shows me this is something that you can do in responsive view. It will not affect your desktop view, anything that you see. So that is going to be great. I want to keep those 3 images. I want to decrease that space, and then scrolling down over here, I want to actually delete it, but I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to disable it on mobile. And then for these images, I want to reduce their size. So I go to settings, and the size is currently 66. I'm going to reduce it all the way to, let's make it 50. So I know these guys, I also have to reduce to 50. I'm just going to type it in 50. And you don't have to worry, because this is the option that is given to you in the mobile view. It will only affect your mobile settings. And I like those images a little bit smaller. Again, here I'm going to, no. I remember now we said this is disabled. I hit this one. Let's reduce it a little bit as well. And then over here, reduce the padding. Good. And this was the column that we don't want. It was the column on the right. So we're going to turn it off. And then we leave that. We leave that. Looks nice. I want to, let's see if we can increase the padding here. Yes, we can. So let's increase the padding to around 20. Also on the left, 20, just to bring it in a little bit more. Now, too many images. This you have to understand, just too many images. So what I'm going to do is I want to focus on these things that give you this sense of the shop. This entire section here, I'm going to disable view on mobile. And then over here, scrolling down, the bottom one, I'm going to do the same. Because, yeah, what's my choice? For this one, I think these images are just way too big. It looks a little bit scary, in fact. So I'm going to reduce their size. Let's make it, okay, 48%. I like it. Click on the next one. 48%. Click on the next one. 48%. Good. And you see immediately it also shrinks. I like that. The rest is good. This image, big, maybe too big. Nah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. And then if you go back to your desktop view, you will see nothing has changed. Your desktop view is exactly still the way it was before we went into mobile. Let's go view it now again. Click on preview. Close this one out. And this is our website. What's going to happen when we reduce it to cell phone size? Boop, 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 boop. You can check. Nice. Okay. You can still reduce it, you see. Jumps around nicely. Contact us. Nice. This is a very nice compact view, and you can see those images that we say do not display over here. It only shows us the 2, it doesn't show us 6. And that's what you want to do for a cell phone display. You want to reduce those things that are very graphical, because cell phones do take longer, more data, and scrolling on the screen can become very tedious. And that's it. We've made a very nice one-page website. So at the end of this video, 2 more things. I'm going to give you my final verdict on what I feel about Brizy at this moment. I'm going to be fair, but I'm not going to be unjust. And then I want to just pitch a little bit and show you where I got these guys from and explain to you how you can get them as well. So let's hop over to those final conclusions. I want to give my final thoughts on the current version 1.0.18. The first thing I need to stress is the word free. Free. It is free. This is not a pro version, and I do not want to judge it against features that will be included in pro. I need to judge it as a free builder. So naturally, like I said earlier, we will compare it with things like the free version of Elementor. I will try not to be too harsh, and in fact I won't be. And I've also explained why I had chosen a one-page website, but everything I've done today, you can go ahead, use your theme, and also make multiple pages. It's going to work. So let's then look at this free WordPress page builder. And the first question is, can you build or make a website from scratch? And my answer is yes, I did it. I think I copied the one that I showed you at the beginning. I did it very well, and it works very well. So yes, you can do it. You can make a website. Of course, it's going to be very basic. You saw the form. It's going to be a very basic form. There's not much of flexibility in terms of what you can do maybe with all those features, but you are going to be able to pull off a good website. And if you are into design and you work with images and layouts, you can set up something that's pretty nice in terms of design and looks very good when you bring all these elements together. So yes, you are going to be able to build a website with the current free Brizy page builder. The level of ease, and this is the one thing that I find online in the communities and in reviews. The level of ease, I remember the first time I opened Brizy, it was just like, yo, wow, look at this. It pops up here at the top, and it is really great. So definitely, there is a great level of ease. It's very intuitive. People keep using the word intuitive. But no, and I don't want to be the spanner in the works here, but when you start working from top to bottom on an entire page and website, you start running into some workflow decisions that don't make sense to you. You have elements on the left, you have a toolbar that pops up on the left, on the top or at the bottom, and then if you want to go to more settings, you have to go to a sidebar on the right, and you have to click many levels down sometimes to get to a function, and that is not a level of ease for me. If you are just loading things in and you do quick changes, yes, it is amazing. It works very quick. But I know a few people who actually just do it on that superficial level. All of us go a little bit deeper. And that is still something that I think the more we use the program, the more we give feedback, the better this will become. So yes, I totally agree. This is a nice way. I find actually that it's almost middle ground between the two names we keep throwing around here, which is Divi and Elementor. Elementor has that bar on the left and Divi has the pop-up in the middle. And it's trying to bring together what people love about both methods. And it works in some cases, and in some cases it gets a little bit frustrating. So there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to that. Responsiveness, I've tested it now, and there's some tweakings that need to be done with the mobile display, but I like how I can go in there and I can make the changes and just focus on those changes. I don't have to select every time an icon for a mobile phone. This is something that I had to go back this week and work in Divi, and I did that. I triggered the mobile display and I started making these changes, and I went back to the desktop display. I saw, these changes carried over to desktop, because in Divi you have to go for each element that you want to change, and you have to select mobile, tablet, cell phone. And I really like the fact that I can just choose cell phone or mobile, and I can just work in there. I don't have to care how it's going to affect my desktop view. So for responsiveness, definitely tablet, nota bene. You need to bring that in. That is very important. Many people use iPads or use vertical displays on some of their computers, and this will be affected once you bring in that responsiveness. It needs to be included in a free version. This is not a pro feature, something that has to come in. And we've seen a lot of people who have made websites so far. This is a problem. Once you get to those breakpoints that bring the tablet in, it just gets all jumbled up. And the last thing I will say here, I can say a lot more, but this is where I will stop, is about the blocks. This is probably where Brizy brings in an amazing feature in a free version. For people who have very limited experience in making websites, whether it is building or designing, the blocks is just one tremendous starting point. You can build an entire website, multiple pages with those blocks. You can go and change the images, change your content, and no one will be any the better that you had used Brizy blocks, as long as you change those fonts and images and colors a little bit. But you can do everything with those blocks that are included. That is a huge strength. But the weakness of the blocks is when I build my own. Currently, when I build my own, especially we saw with the anchor points, it says started from scratch. I don't have names for my blocks. I don't know which blocks are which blocks. And if you look at the videos on saved and global blocks, once these things can be brought to Brizy as a free page builder, it will really excel, and people will be able to use it with ease on the theme of their choice, and they will be able to build a website from scratch, and it will look super good. So I want to finish off. I hope that I didn't ramble too much during this video, and that the cat didn't annoy anyone because they bumped against the microphone stand a few times, and that we are moving forward from here. And hopefully by doing this kind of testing, we can see the things that we really need and the things that should be fixed, and that we can report this to the developers so that it can be improved, and those things that we would like to see, and especially like in a free version that should be included. I hope we can see that also very soon. So keep up the good work, share your stuff, and if you have any other suggestions, please comment and tell me what it is that you think that we can focus on, or ideas that you have where we can make changes. The last part of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about those icons that I had used, just because I've been asked before by people, where do I get these highly specific icons? Is there a specific place you can get it? And the answer is yes. So stay tuned for that. Right, so back here to the website, the final piece for this video is these icons, icon images. This is also something that maybe I think Brizy can look at in the future for a free version, but I don't blame them if they don't want to. But in many other page builders, you get like a info box, and you can choose whether you want to display an image or do you want to display an icon. I think in Divi it's called the blurb. Each page builder, they have their own element for that, or module. But like I said, I don't expect that in a free version. If I can get that in the pro version, that would be good. Because I was talking about coffee, you know you're not going to find coffee beans in the standard icon set. So where did I go and find these? And I'm going to plug these guys a little bit because I've been using them extensively. And it's a interesting name called the Noun Project. And you can see up there, the nounproject.com. And these guys, we are talking gazillions of icons that you can get from them. Over 1 million icons royalty free. Of course, there are conditions. If you're going to put it on a website and you use it for business, you have to subscribe. You can pay annually. And I think it's a very, very fair price. Really, I've not found a word under the sun that I can think of that you can type in here that you're not going to find something for it. For example, if I type in galaxy, I'm definitely going to get something, and not something, 1,159 icons for galaxies. And it is beautiful. Now, for example, let's say you like this kind of galaxy here, or you look here at the bottom, you will see what they call collections. And this is an artist who has drawn a collection of icons for a theme, like this theme is space. So when you choose this collection here, you will be taken to the artist created by Made. And what is nice about all these icons is that they are similar in their drawing. So when you're going to build a website and you want to make sure everything is harmonious, then this is a great way. Then I'm going to go back again, because if I search, it will be searched in this collection. So I want to go back to the main page. Let's search one more thing, something like a keyboard. Often we work with electronics, we look for icons with that. You see, and this is where choice becomes very difficult. Not only keyboard, even for music, you get your MIDI players over there. Keyboard and keys, keyboard. You know, if you click on this collection over here, what do you get? You probably get a key for each. Yes, there's the RS. This is really, really unlimited pleasure when you are looking for this. So how does it work when you then choose something that you want to use? So I search coffee beans. And from the coffee beans, I was giving this plethora of many beans. And then I have to go and decide which beans I want to use. So in this case, I'm going to use a different one. Let's choose this one here at the bottom, says coffee beans. And it will open, and you will have the choice to download it as a PNG or SVG file. Very nice. If you are a subscriber like I am, you get additional benefits, and that is that you can already set the color before you download it. So for example, this was the last color I had used for the website, which is that shocking yellow. I can just click on it and it will give me the transparent background. And if I decide to download it as a PNG, I just click on it, and you see how quickly that was done. That was really, really quick. So I just decided to show you this because often when I am working on prints, especially, or I'm doing even for video design and helping people with presentation and stack slides, I include many of these icons, and they always ask me, where do you get these nice icons? So I decided to plug these guys, and how it works, there's a link below in the description of this video. It's a referral link, and if you click on it and you go there, you're going to get 1 month subscription for free. And the reason why the subscription is for free, because there is Noun Pro. You can use those things for free as long as it's for non-commercial reasons. But otherwise, you can sign up for $40 a year. And if you use as many of these images like I do for so many purposes, then this is absolutely nothing. So if you click on the referral link, you can test drive them for free for a month. After that, if you sign up, I will get a month for free. So I'm straight up with you about that. It's not about me getting anything out of it, but I just thought, this is a cool tool. And every time I see a cool tool, I just want to share it with others. So if you're not using it for any commercial purposes, you can use these icons to your heart's content. But if you're going to be making money out of your website or your design, then you should go for the Noun Pro. And then you should definitely use the referral link in the description below, because you are going to get 1 month absolutely for free. And that's it. We're done. Here comes the weekend.